the event I tried to create before that it wouldn't let me use. Getting streams, getting broadcasts. Okay, getting stream. Hopefully someone will join and say g'day and we'll be good to go. But I might just sit here for a minute and watch the waves and have a little chat to everyone. This is the 4th attempt at starting this stream, so it's saying public now, whereas I was getting unlisted before, which means no one can watch them, I think. But with a bit of luck, someone will pop in and we can go for a bit of a walk. There's quite a lot of people on the beach today. I mean, not a lot, but more than I thought. So social distancing hopefully is happening. I'm quite happy to sit here. I might, if I do start walking, I'm going to go that way because it's much easier to social distance from one person than a clusterfuck. So good morning from Tasmania, Australia, and hope everyone is having a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, or 4 a.m. wherever you are in the world. Hey, Phoenix Fox, how are you? God, I haven't seen you forever. Yeah, UK is now in lockdown, which was sort of one of the reasons I'm doing this little stroll, because it's a sunny morning here, and you know we all need to get our vitamin D. But who knows how long it'll be before I can't go for beach therapy walks with everyone. So I thought you've really got to make the most of it because you know the way things are spreading around the world, things are changing so quickly. You've been in lockdown since 8:30? Huh? I'm into lockdown since 8:30. I'm all for it. I really am. I was very conflicted this morning because a friend of mine had organised an event at her house several weeks ago, and she clearly sent a group text message out to everyone she's invited, checking that everyone's still coming to it. Now, hey Morgan! Yay! This is my 4th attempt at going live. I've used up a lot of battery thinking I was broadcasting when I wasn't, and I'm just letting a girl go past, and then I might start walking up towards the bluff and then turn around, because there's not shitloads of people on the beach, but there's more that way than this way. Do a bit of social distancing. But yeah, I just figure, you know, I'm all for lockdowns because my story about my friend. So she sent a group text message around that said, hey everyone, just checking you're all still coming on Friday. Now, one thing is it's a clothing company party, and you know, this woman does parties at shitloads of different houses. Hey Genevieve, g'day, welcome. The woman that does it's lovely, but she does shitloads of parties, and if she's not washing all of those clothes, I can't remember how long the virus can survive on clothing, but anyway, irrespective of that, I sort of texted her back and said, hey hun, no, I'm actually self-isolating. I'm only going out where possible, when necessary, and social gatherings aren't necessary. But her message also said, I think it'll be great for everyone's mental health if we socialise even at a distance. And I said in my text message, look, I hear you on the mental health thing, but how's everyone's mental health going to be if someone gets exposed to the virus at your party? And I didn't say that. I'm trying to think of the exact wording. I said to her that I'm choosing not to go because it's not an essential event. And then she said, well, mental health's essential. And I said, yeah, but it's a changing world. So we may need to all do virtual parties and socialising very soon. You've been on lockdown since Friday? It is lovely here today, Genevieve. That's why I'm making the most of it. You know, getting some vitamin D, going for a walk. Speaking of mental health, we're still allowed to go for walks on beaches if they're not fucking Bondi Beach. If you can go for a walk on a beach where there's not many people, or you can go for a hike, as long as you're social distancing. And I mean, it's very easy to social distance on a beach where there's not many people, right? So I'd be keen to hear how you guys are going with lockdown, but I just think it's, in a way, for things like, this is the second person this week that's had a social event and is hoping that people will still come to it. And I just feel like we shouldn't feel embarrassed or ashamed if we choose not to go, because I mean, I'm putting other people's health first. If I go to that party and someone's got it and then I spread it, I'll never forgive myself. I've got a terminally ill friend at the moment, or not terminally, I've got a friend with cancer at the moment, and I'm helping her as much as I can, and I would never forgive myself if I gave her that when she's already got an incredibly compromised immune system. So yeah, I mean, I think lockdown's going to be a tough thing for a lot of people to adjust to, but at least when there's a mandatory lockdown, you don't have to feel guilty about saying no to invitations to social events. Morgan, I'd prefer cabin fever over COVID-19. So would I, and I wish everyone felt that way too. Oh, so you had fuckwits who all went to the beach too? Yeah. Well, you know, the footage of Bondi Beach in Australia from Friday, 25,000 people all sitting within a foot of each other and then partying on late into the night. Idiots. You know, there's enough data out there that people in their 20s and 30s, perfectly healthy people in their 20s and 30s, are dying from this virus. So I'm going to do a little U-turn. There's a shitload of people arriving that end now. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, not only were there 25,000 people at Bondi Beach last Friday, the majority of them are people whose companies have said to them, work from home. And they're all like, oh, I'm not going to work from home, I'm going to go to the beach. Like, what the fuck? I do keep myself thinking that so many positives are going to come out of this event that we're witnessing right now. I do believe that. I'm hoping that empathy will be as contagious as this friggin' virus. I hope that people will stop being so self-centered and thoughtless of other people. If any of those young kids who were at the beach on Friday caught the virus and then one of their elderly grandparents or even their parents or a sibling died, are they going to feel bad about it? Or are they going to go, oh, I didn't know, all my other friends went there too, so I just went with my friends? Do you know what I mean? It's time for some people to grow the fuck up. Absolutely. I mean, there's a cool article that I found online today. It's got a picture of Kurt Cobain talking about Gen Xers and how Gen Xers are already prepared for being in lockdown and possibly embracing it with great passion and excitement. I don't have any friends that are complaining about the possibility of it. Like, I think a lot of us are sort of all agreeing that we've been rehearsing for this for quite a while, decades even. But then I have got other friends who, yeah, want their little social events to still go ahead. And this friend of mine didn't give me shit for saying no to going to this thing on Friday night. But I felt like I either had to make up some excuse, and I mean, I have been sort of keeping a bit of a cold at bay, and it's not fun going out in public with a cold right now, I can tell you that. Like, if you sneeze or use a tissue or anything like that, holy shit, even I've judged someone for doing that. But it sucks. I felt like I had to justify. And so when I replied, I didn't. I just said no. No, I'm choosing to self-isolate and only go out for essential things, or going out for a bit of exercise while we still can. You know, I've got no idea what's going to happen in Australia, but there's some pretty serious statistics starting to come out of Sydney and Melbourne, and you know, if it gets to the point that they even say that beaches in, I mean, Tassie, we've only got a population of 500,000. You'll never see anywhere near the number of people on one beach like Bondi the other day. But I'm taking advantage of the sun and being able to walk in it while I still can. And I think a lot of people that aren't in lockdown yet, you know, if they can take advantage. I know I've got a friend in a fairly sort of, not remote, but open part of Colorado who's, of Arizona, who's able to go hiking directly behind her house, and she's doing that for exercise while she still can, getting a bit of vitamin D. And you know, for me, this is how I'm managing my mental health right now. While my friend said, oh, it'd be good for our mental health if we all socialise, I was just like, it'd be way worse for our mental health if someone catches it and passes it on to a relative who dies from it. And I don't know where anyone's been. I know where I've been and I know what I've been exposed to, but I don't know how cautious anyone at other events are. And reading about Germany now, I think it's gatherings, you can't have gatherings of more than 3, or that might be the UK and Germany's, you can't have gatherings of more than 2 unless you're a family of 6 or something and you're all at home together. And I kind of wish they'd bring something in like that here, just so people stop thinking that social events are essential for our mental health. We can get online and FaceTime. I put something on my Facebook page today of a choir. 2 of my friends are in it in Brisbane. It's a pub choir that they belong to. Anyway, they've made this video and they've called it the Couch Choir, and they've all recorded themselves singing Close to You by the Carpenters from their homes, from their living rooms, and it's absolutely stunning. And it's like, start doing shit like that, people. It's going to be terrible for everyone's mental health if someone at that fucking party has the virus and spreads it. Oh shit, that water's I was trying to go down the beach because these 2 fuckers, although I suppose they're social distancing, I shouldn't call them fuckers, but I was just on a trajectory right towards them. Hang on. Just being respectful and all. I'll catch up with Chad in a sec. I've got the sun in my face at the moment. That's why I'm on a bit of a monologue rant. One thing I've got to stop saying too when I go live on YouTube is when Freddie and I have been looking at graphs and, oh great, some dirty pricks left there. Why do people do that? They bag up their dog shit and then leave the bag with the shit in it on the beach. Ugh, that's something I'll have to pick up. Well, no, that's something I normally would pick up. I'm actually not going to, because the bug can live on plastic for 72 hours. And the chances of anyone down here having it are very slim. All the cases in Tassie, there's about 28 now, but they're all people that brought it into the state, brought it home from their travels or from cruise ships. But yeah, I mean, normally I'd just pick that up and pop it in the bin when I get home, but nope. Can't touch this. So I'll spin around in a minute. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, okay. Here was the thing that I read yesterday and made a note of it, because I think it's the smartest advice, and I think it's how we should all think and shift our thinking to this position, which is we should all be acting like we've been tested positive for coronavirus. If we all started to act like we'd been tested and we came back with a positive result, people in countries where there's no lockdown yet would be self-isolating. And yeah, I think that's the greatest bit of advice. It's a Huffington Post article. I think it's been said on a few different platforms, but that's where I saw it. And I thought, yep, you know what? If my friends think I'm being overly cautious, I don't give a shit. Because I'm actually being overly careful because I care about people that I love, and also I care about my own health. And yeah, I'm treating it like I've already got it. So I'm staying at home. I don't need to leave the house for anything. I've got enough food for a few weeks, maybe 4 weeks, possibly even 5 or 6 if I really stretched it out. I don't think intermittent fasting is going to be a problem for me. If I have to resort myself to 2 meals a day, I can easily do that. I could probably even go down to 1 meal a day if I really had to. I want to see chats, and I also want to get my water bottle, which is back up on the beach. Don't freak out about my cough. Great to have you here. Florida is not on lockdown, but everything closes early. Wow. See, in Australia yesterday, all pubs, bars, cafes, casinos, everything shut. Well, sorry. Cafes and restaurants can still do takeaways, and there's a really positive movement down here to support all of our restaurants and cafes who have been feeding us amazing food and coffees for years. So there's like a new Facebook takeaway page which is listing all of the restaurants and cafes that are still preparing takeaway food and to try and help them stay in business. But I had quite a few friends who work in the hospitality industry who were stood down from their jobs yesterday, because from midday yesterday all of our pubs, clubs, bars, casinos, non-essential services of the leisure variety where large groups of people can often gather, were all shut. So I'm actually really pleased that's happened, because the little fuckers on Bondi Beach the other day, when they shut the beach and had to put police guards on the beach because little twerps were still rocking up, then they all just gravitated towards bars and clubs and cafes and continued their partying in there. And it's like, holy shit. And what I can't handle is the number of people who are no one told us. What the fuck? How can you be alive right now and not know about this shit? Or at least if you hear a story, be curious to read a bit about it and see what the fuck is going on the planet. Oh, we didn't know. Yeah, that's because you don't pay attention to anything. I just don't know how that couldn't happen. Because even if you don't watch the news or read papers or look at anything online, people have been talking about this shit since December. You can't say in March you didn't know about it. Or, some of the other little twerps, we're young and healthy, we're not going to get sick from it. We'll hate to break it to your kids, but you are. There's plenty of people in their 20s and 30s who are healthy dying right now. And if you don't die from it, God forbid you pass it on to your grandparents or your parents or your siblings, and they do. Hi, Kylie. Fault. Yeah, my town looked the same. All the holiday makers came earlier, and our healthcare could never handle that many people. See, we also closed. Tassie's, where I live, tourism's massive, and we closed our borders. We were the first state of Australia to do it last week, and kudos to our Premier for making that call. But the only people that technically are coming home now are Tasmanians coming home from wherever they've been, and also any essential services, and anyone who arrives here, whether they're a medico or returning home from a trip, whatever, they need to be quarantined for 14 days. So It's interesting, this island has the capacity to contain it, although the numbers are going up. Those numbers are people that are finally coming home from cruise ships. Fuck knows why they let all those people off that cruise ship though. Like, we went from having 7 cases last week to 28, and the majority of those the new ones were on these cruise ships. That's one thing I won't be upset about, is if the cruise line industry disappears. The Love Boat. There's people pretty confident down here. It's only going to get to 18 degrees down here today, which, I mean, it probably feels like it's already there now. It's lovely. I'm in a t-shirt and a little skirt, but peeps are coming to the beach for the day. Good on them, because this is something we may not be able to do soon. I'm the only one that's kind of zigzagged away from people on the beach, but I don't know whether that's just because I'm more considerate than they are. Who knows? You've seen people become really nice and caring. That's great, Morgan, and that's the stuff we should be talking about. You preach, Tori. I know I'm being a bit of a ranter. Sorry about that. I'm with you, Kylie. My whole life's prepared for lockdown too. Morgan already works from home many hours a week. Try to get out of every social gathering I can. Not a huge adjustment. Exactly. I'm one of those weird people. I'm a bit of a paradox because I'm a bit introverted and a homebody, but I'm also extroverted and social. Like, I'm both. But to be honest, not that I've been invited to anything yet that I don't want to go to, but if I was, it's the best excuse ever, right? No, thank you. I'm caring about the health of others and myself. I'm going to stay at home. Every cloud has a silver lining, and I want the positive stuff to spread. I keep hashtagging empathy 2020 because I'd really love that to go viral. If that's one thing that I can do, is get that message out there, because there's some really negative stuff now going around as well, and misinformation and people saying some pretty shitty things, and you know, no one in Australia is going to not know someone who's positive or positive themselves eventually. And well, I think so. If they say 60% is the loose, sort of the least conservative estimate, if 60% of Australia, not that they're going to die from it, but catch it, then all of these negative things need to stop. Because if it's you or a member of your family or one of your friends, someone you care about, even a work colleague, you want to be there to support them remotely, not be apologising for some shitty comment you've made or some shitty thing you've done before anyone you know has been affected by it. Kylie, never really liked people anyway. No, I'm not a huge fan either. Don't get me wrong. I do seem to be a magnet for some pretty magnificent people. And I'm mindful that everyone's confused and scared and frightened, and it's a weird time, but we're all in this together. We're all learning things day by day, and I can't recommend highly enough a podcast that's been made in Australia called CoronaCast. It goes for about 5-10 minutes a day, and it is really informative and really practical. And weirdly, as I was getting ready to head to the beach, I was listening to it, and it was all about how to exercise in quarantine and, you know, downloading yoga apps and things like that if you're stuck at home, or if you still have the opportunity, like I do, to get outside, then do it. Fault has an extremely sick law passed, the one where people can refuse doing their job for you if their beliefs say they shouldn't accept you. No. Oh, Kylie's talking about singing. I must have a fair bit of chat to get through. Okay, a pro-life doctor can refuse a ablution for a teen or a rape victim. Yeah, what Morgan's saying, like non-essential abortions have been stopped in several states. That's all I've really seen. Like, okay, so you might be chatting about that rather than the coronavirus side of things. I mean, everything's going to shift with coronavirus. Everything's going to change. And I know that a lot of people don't like change, but, you know, tough. We're all in this together. This virus is taking control, and there's information being given to us from credible sources that we should pay attention to, but not overwhelm ourselves with information, because that can affect your mental health. And that's why I recommend that little podcast, CoronaCast. It's 10 minutes a day. So if you want to be kept informed, I mean, it doesn't go into graphic statistics like I do when I go live, or not that I'm, you know, but I show the tally and so on. I'm rethinking whether I want to do that. I've started doing little tips from the kitchen. I did one the other day about some alternatives to fresh food other than frozen vegetables and fruits. And I'm doing another one today on things that you can actually freeze, foods that you can freeze that people might have bought, you know, 2 or 3 more packets of things than they usually do, and if they're not likely to get through it all in the next 2 weeks, they can freeze things. So that's going to be a bit of fun. Just some little information clips, because I am a researcher and I don't mind, and I was a criminal lawyer and I don't mind graphic details, and I know when to switch off. And I keep putting little positive things on my own Facebook page that I then read and switch off and go and do what I want to do that's not anywhere near the info, if you know what I mean. Everyone can self-manage how much information is going to affect them. But we're all in this together. It's not a rehearsal. This is just, we've all just got to adapt a little bit. Kylie, we've done our own self-isolation for 2 weeks and they said we were crazy. Now who looks crazy? Exactly, Kylie. And I mean, I'm very lucky that I work from home and I've got the opportunity to do that. And I'm very grateful for that. I was talking to a friend of mine this morning who goes to town every day to work, and I said to her, I don't believe that you're still having to go to town. Like, you can work from your job, you can do from home. You don't physically have to be sitting at, she sits at a desk all day on a computer. So she could be doing that from home, because all the public aspects of her job she's not able to do now. So why she still has to go into the office blows my mind, and I feel for her. And I said to her, you know, fuck, I'd be wearing a hazmat suit. And again, it's because I don't want to pick it up and possibly not have any symptoms and don't know, and then I'm mingling with people and pass it on to them. I would never forgive myself for that. So why not take that possibility out of the equation if you can? Morgan, I think the cue would be when you walk by someone and they run away from you because you're in their 6 foot... Oh, when I'm walking on the beach. Could be right. Hey, Richard, welcome to the beach and bitch. The beach and bitch. I'm not a bitch. That's harsh. Just talk about empathy, love, compassion. And you call me a bitch? I'm a beach and beach, motherfucker. Richard did home karaoke last night. Sadly for the neighbours, we have an amp, oh my God, and a microphone. That's fun though. I think people would have been laughing because you were doing that. Proud of my children. Day 1 at home from school. Both have done some good homework. I didn't push it. They're being responsible. Awesome sauce. Morgan, our power went out today. Not going to lie. Thought that was it for a minute. But you got your Wi-Fi back. Awesome. I've noticed at home my internet's nowhere near as good as it used to be. But I get up really early, so if I need to do any online kind of stuff, I'm going to do it first thing in the morning because it's quieter then. But again, you know, even all those little things, I mean, power going out would be a bit freaky, but especially if it didn't come back on for a few hours. But again, you know, all those sorts of things we've taken for granted, like really good broadband and all that sort of stuff, you know, now we've got to go, okay, it's slow now because I'm sharing it with a heap of people that are now stuck at home as well. Richard, before moving to New Zealand, Kylie, karaoke was a fear for my wife and I. We started going to karaoke every Friday night. We now love it. Yeah, well, that's awesome. Seeing curried seagull on the screen. Yum. I have postulated whether our native critters are going to start to be eyed with suspicion, and perhaps that's my next meal. I don't think it's going to get to that point. I think people probably haven't quite shifted their way of thinking in terms of the food they've got at home, and because they normally would buy groceries every week and they possibly don't get to, they don't realise that there's a shitload of food and meals that they can make with what they've got at home. We've got care packages of food being delivered to our elderly, which is really cool, and any other one any other social group that's vulnerable or disadvantaged. So that's really lovely that that's happening. And a guy that had a food truck, he's now using his truck to deliver the food from the supermarket to the vulnerable in our community. So no one down here is stressing too much that they're the vulnerable in our community isn't okay right now, which is really lovely. Even our pizza food truck, they're still open, but what they'll do is we already pay online for it, and they're happy to bring it out to you in your car. Or, if you don't feel comfortable going up and taking it from them. So there's things like that happening, which, people are shifting their way of thinking so they can keep their businesses open. People can adapt. The ones that aren't are the ones that aren't thinking of this in a global way or even a community way. The people that are struggling are only thinking of themselves and how it's impacting them, and you just can't think that way because it's impacting all of us. Kylie's always bitching in the kitchen. Okay, it looks like I've caught up with chat now. You're not a bitch, soz Tori. I have been thinking how wonderfully responsible, respectful and caring you are in your broadcast. You're a great person and you're really good at what you do. Thanks. Oh. That's the sweetest apology. Gosh, you're lovely, Richard. And honestly, I wasn't crushed. I wasn't going to walk up the hill in a minute going, oh, I got called a bitch. It was more that I've seen bitches on YouTube and I ain't one of them. So as this pandemic continues to unravel at an alarming rate, I'm hoping, my wish is that empathy travels the world at a faster rate. Don't go on your social media and be on it all day if you know that it's going to make you sad. There's some really lovely stuff that I'm trying to grab and put on my Facebook page. I am more than happy for any of you, if you're on Facebook, send me a friend request. My full name is Tori Hodgman. I don't mind saying that. I've got a podcast where I say it every week. Hodgman without an E and Tori, Tori, just like it's written in Victoria. But send a friend request because I'm trying to find beautiful, simple, positive things to share with people. Not over the top. I'm also being a bit of a reality check person, but I know how to manage my anxiety, and I know when I'm seeing too much and it's starting to affect me. But I'm quite happy to go out there and source some beautiful, and I have found some beautiful stuff. If you type into your Google machine the Couch Choir close to you by the Carpenters, they're a pub choir from Brisbane in Queensland, Australia, and they've recorded the Carpenters song Close to You with them all sitting at home on their couches, and it's really beautiful. And two of my buddies are in it, Scott and Andrew. So keep an eye out for them. Even though you've got no idea what they look like. Yeah, Richard is kind. He's such a beautiful addition to this channel. It's so lovely having you, Richard. Love and light for Tori, and for all of you beautiful people. Listen to Smooth Criminal Podcast. Thank you, Morgan. Yeah, that's what my afternoon entails. That's why I came to the beach, because I've got to go back and make a bit of lunch and then sit down and record my podcast. I've increased the number of stories I'm recording for print radio. I think the visually impaired in our community, even though they have access to braille readers and so on, print radio is such a vital service for them that they can, listen to us reading stories. And I've got my own little show that I do every Wednesday called Body and Soul, and I'm writing that and recording it, producing it, editing it and everything from home. It's so rewarding. And then I also read stories for another show called Inbox, which is on Friday mornings. But it's so, I'm so lucky that I've got the capacity, because I've got my little podcast, not a studio, but my podcast set up that I can do that. And I'm getting great joy from that, being able to give them information, but also some fun. So like my funny story this week was the lady that had been watering a plastic succulent for 2 years before she realised it was a fake plant, and she was devastated. She said, I felt like the last 2 years has been a lie. Yeah, back to taking the piss. I need suggestions about that. Was so funny. I've got to check in on Freddy today. The statistics in France, they've had a few days of dramatic increases. I've got to touch base with him and see how he's doing. That was what I was saying about earlier on the beach when I was walking too, was I'm going to stop using the term spike. I'm going to go for another little stroll. Just up and back for about 15 minutes before I head back up. CoronaCast, the podcast that I listen to, the ABC, the Australian ABC, not the American one, has a podcast called CoronaCast that goes for 10 minutes every day. But some of you might have been live with me when I played a video from Dr. Norman Swan, the guy that went through some of the relevant terminology and what it means. And he's on this podcast. And it's only 10 minutes every morning. There's a new episode, and it's really informative. And it's fun too. They're getting kids to ask questions at the moment, and the questions have been really, really quite cute. In fact, Dr. Swan was like, oh shit, I knew we shouldn't have asked kids to ask questions because they come up with the tricky ones. So like this little 6-year-old yesterday said, who was the first person to get coronavirus? And then one today was, will there be a cure for coronavirus by Christmas time? And another one was, can I go and see my grandma? But in one of the episodes I was listening to, he's got a co-host, and she said something about a spike, and he said, oh, hang on, we've just got to get this sorted out. It's not a spike unless the numbers go up and then drop. And when we've been looking at those charts on our lives, I've been saying, oh, there's been a spike in this country and that country, and it's not correct. It's a dramatic increase. A spike is a pointed thing, right? So unless the chart shows a country where it's gone through the roof and the next day it's come crashing back down and it stays down, then you've got a spike. Morgan, I can't even keep cacti alive. I would have known right away when it was still green. Hey, cacti and succulents, you know how you keep them alive? You neglect them. They thrive on neglect. Seriously, you get a little spray bottle, and even if you do it once every 2 months and you just give their leaves a little bit of a spray and that's it, you don't pour water into the pot or anything, they will live for years. Succulents and cacti die from people treating them like another plant that needs to be watered, because they just don't. So yeah, you just get a little spray bottle, spray the leaves. A friend of mine leaves her little spray bottle near them, so every now and then she's like, what the fuck is that spray bottle? She's like, oh, can't remember the last time those little guys had a drink. And then she gives them a little squirt and forgets about them for another 2 months. Don't go anywhere with squirt, Richard. I already, with your Google comment. That was so funny. Put this in your Google. So, yeah, I'll check in on Freddie and see how he's doing. He'd be in his second week of quarantine now, but there's some pretty big figures coming out of France at the moment, sadly. China's had so far no new cases today, but the US is starting to show some fairly dramatic increases. Italy, unfortunately, is still showing dramatic increases every 24 hours. The US is now, I think it's now China, Italy, and then the US in terms of diagnosed cases. But again, you know, heavily populated countries, but even so. And then Spain, Germany, and France, I think, were the other ones. Hey, another thing I read that was interesting, they're saying, I think coming out of South Korea, they're saying that a lot of people said the first symptom that they experienced was a loss of sense of smell. Did anyone else see that? That's kind of interesting. Because if everyone's, you know, like ends up in lockdown and it takes 14 days for symptoms to appear, and then it's like 5 or 6 days into it that you start getting really sick. So if people are at home and they notice that they've lost their sense of smell, well, then that would be a great opportunity for a testing kit or something to be, well, not even that a testing kit would have to be delivered, but I just found that really interesting. I don't know why I was going down that road, but I just thought, yeah. Because, I mean, it's been around long enough now that they're starting to get more knowledge about it from people who've experienced it and recovered, and also from autopsies, presumably, if they're doing them. I don't know if they would be. I don't think they should be, actually. Literally, I got one as a present when I got a promotion from a friend because my friend knew this about me. I killed it successfully. Another YouTuber about smell loss. Yeah, I'm finding all of this fascinating, watching it sort of unravel. But, you know, the fact that was consistently expressed by a lot of people in South Korea, that was the first thing they noticed. Kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. So yes, another beautiful day where I live. I'll go home, make a little bit of lunch, and then do my podcast episode, and then I've got that little video to make. And I've got to touch base with Freddie and a couple of other friends. Is anyone starting to talk with their friends more on the phone rather than just messaging them on Messenger and sending text messages and stuff? I've started checking in on friends, and I've really looked at where social media is really handy too. Just some of my friends are very honest on their Facebook statuses that they might be struggling a little bit or a bit depressed. And it's like, right, I'm calling them right now. And I'm starting to write little letters and cards. I've got a heap of stamps at the moment, so I can, well, we can still go out and about. If the next time I have to do an essential shop, which is later this week, just need to get some more stuff for my cat. Because if I don't have enough stuff for her, things could get very ugly, you know, in our house very quickly. And I'm just going to drop a whole heap of cards off at the post office, because I thought, how nice is that people, if they're able to get to their letterboxes, will get a cute little message, or if when the lockdowns and quarantines are lifted, there'll be something nice waiting for them. Richard, I have a story about everything, sorry. Casper was born premature, blind, no sense of smell and can't taste. They restored her eyesight in one eye, still can't taste or smell. Huh. Wow. Little fighters, Casna, little prem babies. Amazing. I've got a girlfriend who was due in another 5 weeks, who's now in the hospital because she went into early labour and they've managed to stop it, and they want to just see if they can keep labour away for another week just to give the baby a chance to put on a bit more weight. I mean, I was prem. I was only 5 pound 2 ounces, and then ended up being the chubbiest of the 3 kids in our family. I was the teeny weeny one that was, yeah, very small. But that's an interesting story, Cass. I mean, I've got a girlfriend who's got Parkinson's, and one of the first things that happens with Parkinson's is you lose your sense of smell, which I had no idea. I said, well, you're lucky you can't smell your dog's farts. Every cloud has a silver lining. But for those of us who do have our sense of smell, if it suddenly vanished at the moment with what's going on in the world, you'd probably be thinking, yeah, maybe I'll just call my doctor and see if I need to be tested, or maybe I'll just self-isolate because this is one of the first symptoms that's now coming out. Bazza, you dirty little bastard. Where's Shazza, huh? Richard wants to make a curry out of you. I don't know whether your meat would be tender or tough as nails. Where's Shazalina? Hello. Stay, you too, Jackie. Social distancing. Nice to see you though, gorgeous. And I mean, is there a better place to be self-isolating, really? Okay. Oh, right. Yeah. Take care. So I just bumped into a friend of mine who lives down here, who I knew before she moved down here, but apparently she still has to go to work, which sucks. I wish people that didn't have to be in an office would be allowed to work from home. Sure, there might be a few jobs that can't get done, but you know, those jobs, surely they can wait, like photocopying shit or putting together, you know, manuals or preparing documents for conferences. Like, the conference may not even go ahead. Why do your staff have to go to the office and collate something for a conference in 8 weeks' time? It's probably not going to happen, you know? I mean, I'm not talking about Jackie and her job. She's a lawyer too, but yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, all these employers in Australia yesterday had to stand down. I mean, there's a, you know, Federal Hotels, our largest hotel chain in Tassie, and they own the casinos, and they had to stand down 1,500 staff members yesterday. And they are going to be able to make provisions for quite a lot of them. And like one of my girlfriends was saying, you know, hopefully her annual leave and sick leave, annual leave, long service leave and sick leave, she might, you know, be able to stretch it out. There's a way they can, like, she works 4 days a week, but there's a way they can pay her for 3 days a week and she can still survive on that income. So it'll stretch it out longer. So, you know, people can, there's things that companies can do. But why are people that work in offices and sit at computers still being told to go to work? It makes no sense to me. Let them work from home. They might actually suddenly have much more productive staff, as long as their staff don't go to Bondi Beach on Friday. or get up in their pyjamas and think they're going to be productive if they stay in their jammies, because from someone who's worked at home a fair bit in the last decade, you don't. You treat it like your job, and you still get up and you actually end up working longer hours, but out of choice, because you can start early. Like, you don't have to put makeup on and blow dry your hair and all that sort of shit that wastes time. And yeah, I mean, courts are starting to say a lot of the minor offenders can be dealt with online, and interesting times. I think if I saw someone in distress, Morgan, maybe was that about the contacting friends? Yeah. We do a lot of video calls or messenger family spread across the world. From arsehole to Christmas? I don't think you meant the little kid on that podcast asking about Christmas as an arsehole. I think that's an expression you're using there, Kyles. Yeah, I don't understand why workplaces that can let their staff work from home are choosing not to, but then conversely, I guess all the employers who told their staff they could work from home might have spotted them in photographs on Bondi Beach and just gone, oh shit, maybe that's why employers aren't, I don't know. But, I think those decisions are being made based on fairly strong medical evidence and so on. I think we have to hope that decisions are being made based on advice from people who know what they're fucking talking about. Kylie, I thought I had a temperature. Turns out it was hot flushes. Oh, I hear you. I'm lucky at the moment. It's kind of weird where I am in my stage of the pause, because I get a hot flush at exactly the same time every afternoon. It lasts about 10 minutes. And there's no sweat or anything. I just, yeah, this bitch is on fire. See, look at me. I'm calling myself a bitch now. Richard, look what you've done to me. It's kind of weird, but I know when it's coming, and I peel off every layer I can without my neighbours seeing me naked. But yeah, I actually bought a thermometer the other day. I was at the chemist and I was getting some eye drops because I've got a sty in my eye, and I was at the counter and the girl said to me, have you got a thermometer? And I was like, no, I don't think I've owned one since I had one in a first aid kit when I was a kid. And she said, well, we've got heaps. Do you want one? And I was like, well, what would you say? And she's like, I reckon you should, because if you're self-isolating after you're exposed and you start to have a fever, And I was like, okay, I'll grab one, but I haven't opened it. I've kept it in the box just in case someone in our community puts up a request for one. They've got kids or something. I'll take it to them, because I think it's, it's not that I don't need it. I guess it'd be handy if I was experiencing a fever, but there's quite a few people that have had coronavirus and come out the other end who didn't get fevers at all. So it's not 100% guaranteed you're going to get one, but yeah. But I thought that was quite interesting that the pharmacy was sort of like not upselling or pushing shit onto people, but just saying we've got these things in stock if you need them. So stuff like paracetamol, they've put a lot of it at the checkout area at the front of the pharmacy, so it's not all on the shelves. So if someone sort of says, I needed to get some paracetamol, they've got some stashed away. After the first glass of wine, same time every day, naked after the fourth glass. No, I'm a I'll be naked after the half of the first glass. I'm a one-pot screamer. I've got a couple of respiratory illnesses that, weirdly, one of them fucked up my passion for drinking. I couldn't drink for 6 months while I was being assessed to try and find out what was wrong with me. And it turns out I've got a really sort of full-on histamine intolerance. But by the time I was able to start drinking again, I had a glass of white wine, which I used to love, and it just tasted horrible to me. And then reds, I'm fine as long as they don't have sulfite in them. But yeah, these days, especially if I have a glass of red wine or something in the middle of the day, champagne, holy shit. One pot screamer. Lightweights, yep. I am. A mate of mine whose dad owns a few pubs contacted me the other day, which I thought was really lovely, to say that they're delivering grog orders to people in the area, like where I live, and he was checking in to see if I needed anything, and I was like, seriously mate, I've got a house full of grog that I haven't touched really for, about a year or more. If I really get desperate and think that, I don't know, vodka, lime and soda is dinner, then I'll start drinking it, I guess. Whatever gets us through it. Kylie's naked before the first. That's how you ended up with kids, darling. Oh, a friend of mine in Pennsylvania sent me a funny little meme that made me laugh yesterday or the day before, which was, how long do you think it'll be before the Jehovah's Witnesses realise we're all at home? It's like, oh no. I mean, we can still have a laugh, and there are some funny things going around, but there's some mean things going around too. And a lot of it's driven from people's fear and frustration, and I understand that. But for every sort of shitty thing you read, if we keep spreading all these fun things, hopefully, like Empathy 2020, they will travel the world faster than the virus and brighten people's days. So, yeah, but I did mean it before when I said if you want to join my Facebook page, please do. I've got a special episode of Smooth Criminal, my podcast coming up tomorrow morning. Last week I did Corona, and it was stories involving beer. And this week is also kind of topical. But it's a comedy podcast, so hopefully people will get a few chuckles listening to that in the morning. What? I'm moving when this is over. Where are you moving to? Where are you moving to? Did I miss something? Where's Morgan moving to? Morgan, no one has called and asked me if I need a delivery. Oh. But I think, aren't you all in lockdown? I don't think anyone can. I don't know what you mean, Morgan. Oh, shit. Nothing like screaming children to break the silence, bust the chi, kill the vibe. Keep your little shitters away from me. I've socially distanced a good 800 metres away from you people. I know kids cry, but isn't it weird when you're on a beautiful beach and sitting in the sun and having a chat with some friends online, how that ear-piercing scream can just bust your mood? Oh, I've got a girlfriend of mine calling from Adelaide, so you'll probably be hearing a bit of my phone ringing for a second. Clothes are overrated. I'm done having kids. My badge is closed for renovations. Yep, don't open your Google for anyone. I'll just send my friend a little text message saying I'll call her back. Oh, delivery of grog. Yeah, that is alcohol. That is, no one's offered to bring it to you. No, I thought it was really lovely of my mate Nick to offer that service for his friends. I think their pub, because they've closed, they're being resourceful and they're like, well, at least we can do home deliveries for people. So they're taking orders, but obviously their stock's going to run out at some point. So he said, you know, let me know if you want a delivery and we'll pop you on the list. Which was lovely, but I said, nah, there's probably other people in the world that need it more than, well, not the world, in our area that need it more than me. This sty in my eye is starting to sting a little bit. I might have to head home and put my eye drops in. God, okay, I just got a reminder of a channel I've got to unsubscribe. I just got a notification for a YouTube channel that's going live talking about Chris Watts. Are you fucking kidding me? Some of you we didn't meet because of the true crimes community, but Richard, a lot of us met because we all followed this awful case in America, this family annihilator, Chris Watts, and it happened in 2013 in August, and it's now March 2020, and the world is being attacked by a virus, and we're all watching on in bewildered awe, and fuckwits on YouTube are still going live about Chris Watts or doing stories about it. I mean, seriously. I'm all for people going live and trying to entertain the masses, but maybe teach people how to do macrame owls or something. I mean, does anyone even watch those fuckers still? Totally unsubscribing from that trip when I get home. Amazon will bring it to me, but I have to do all the work. In terms of drinking it all. Yeah, Morgan, right? Get over that case. I mean, seriously. Seriously. No, here comes a little scruffy puppy. There's still no evidence that your pets can catch COVID-19 or even transmit it to human beings. So that was another story I saw this morning. Anywho, I think I might, yeah, fuck Chris Watts. The journey to justice. Hello, stay safe too. How are things where you are? Just wrapping up actually, but a little update on how you're travelling would be great. Just trying to, now I'm just social distancing with my camera. I'm trying to stop people. Yeah, fuck Chris Watts, I agree. And no, there's nothing new, but who still even watches this? Like, ugh. With everything that's going on in the world at the moment, YouTube could bring us together. I mean, look at us today. We've had people from the UK, the United States, Australia. We're all hanging out together and talking about the importance of vitamin D. That was the whole point of my live, actually. If it's sunny, even if you can sit in a window and point your face towards the sun and try and hold it there for 15 minutes with your eyes closed even, because the vitamin D gets absorbed fastest through your eyelids, please do that. You know, these are the little mindfulness things that when we're self-isolating or even quarantined that we need to do. If you've got a little balcony you can go out on, if you've got a little garden you can go and sit in, a little backyard, whatever you've got. But yeah, if there's ever a sunny day, where I live, it is a sunny island all year round, but we do have colder weather than the mainland. So a lot of people here are vitamin D deficient because they just don't rug up and go and sit outside and absorb some sun. But you can absorb it through glass. So yeah, sit in your windows if there's a sunny place in your home, or if the sunspot, if it's on the floor, wherever it is, lie on the floor and just close your eyes and lie there for 15 minutes and let your body soak up some vitamin D. But take care, everyone. Lovely to Oh well, I'm actually happy to hear that it's a ghost town in Miami with you all at home, because Florida's been a bit naughty. Some of the young folk of Florida have been misbehaving, just like the young folk of Bondi Beach. Little shits. Bazza, you're not coming home with me, so stop your flirting. Seriously, mate. Fuck off. Oh look, there's Shazza. Love is in the air, everywhere I look around. Sad sign of the times when a seagull's getting more action than you are, right? That's what I might call this video when I get home. Alright, shaggers, you're all awesome. Richard, if you don't get a good Tassie joke in your repertoire in the next 24 hours, I suggest you write some new material and change your course of action for becoming a leading Australian stand-up comedian. Just a tip from the beach. They shut the beaches down now. Yeah, they've done that here too. Well, I mean, not here, obviously, right where I am, because I'm sitting on one. But but the beaches in Sydney that have 25,000 people on them. I mean, I can see one guy or girl in the surf at the moment. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. About 15 people that way, including just in front of the car park. And then in the other direction, there's 10. Oh, and by the way, the dog poo that I kept seeing in bags along the beach, I saw 2 of them. The owner had bagged them up and left them and was still on the beach, and when they came back along the beach, they'd picked them up and took them home with them. So my bad. Now that I know that, I'm laughing because I've carried that person's dog shits home to my bin quite a few times, not realising they'd just walked up the beach and they would pick them up on their way back. So yeah. Yeah. On that note, they were tourists. Yeah, a lot of the people on Bondi Beach were backpackers and tourists, but a lot of them were locals that were working from home. And there's been a massive increase in positive tests coming out of Sydney, where Bondi Beach is, and I don't know how they'll be able to calculate how many cases possibly would have been caught on the beach that day with 25,000 people, but I'm not surprised that Sydney's got a bit of an explosion of figures happening when 25,000 of the people, I mean, there wouldn't be many tourists left in Australia, I don't think, now. I think the majority of them would have been happily heading home, maybe even bringing their trips. Oh no, actually a lot of them can't get home now. So yeah, there are, sorry, there was a stupid comment. I read a blog about a girl who's trapped. She says she's trapped here. She's from Australia. She lives and works overseas now, and she's saying she's trapped in Australia. It's kind of like, well, at least you're home. This woman's standing at the end of my track, and I don't want to walk up behind her. But I can't work out if she's waiting for people to come down, or she just doesn't know if she wants to walk up the thing. Bondi Rescue, it's a great show. It's a great show. My one of my favourite things about it is another show, Gogglebox, which is a heap of different Australian families and couples and people watching TV, and they get filmed reacting to what they're watching. And in a couple of seasons, they had these 2 gorgeous Aussie girls who were uni students, but they were both of Asian descent. Like, they had an Asian parent or 2 Asian, I don't know, I actually don't know what the makeup was, but they were, like born in, they were born in Australia, I think, but they'd, I'm pretty sure they did say they were, but they used to, when Bondi Rescue came on, they'd be like, Oh, cool. Now we get to watch a heap of Asians drown, which is, I'm laughing at it because it's actually, not that the drowning isn't funny, but it was just so true. Like Bondi Rescue, whenever, not that many drownings are shown, but whenever someone needs to be rescued, the majority of them are Asian or, you know, from European countries where they don't swim a lot. But that comment made me laugh. Now I'm going to get told I'm racist because I found Asians making fun of other Asians funny. You watch. Aussie Outlaw, Bikini O'Clock. Oh, Mel sent you Bondi Rescue to watch. Bikini O'Clock. Well, sorry to disappoint Aussie Outlaw, but we're only heading for a top of 18 today, so the majority of people that are down here, well, that family's already packing up. Their kids are already giving them the shits, I reckon. I've actually probably got the least amount of clothing on of anyone on the beach right now. I'm just wearing a little skirt and a t-shirt, but yeah, sorry mate, more like wetsuit o'clock around these parts. There's only one, oh no, there's two people in the water surfing in their wetsuits. Oh no, there's a shitload of surfers out there. Well, not a shitload, about 9. Just so when I looked before I could only see one, and now I've realised they're all sitting way out. Okay. 18 is a heat wave. Come on, mate. I've got you and Richard both giving me shit about being in Tassie now. Fucking Aussie men giving me shit about the beautiful little island I live on. 18's a heat wave. Maybe in winter, dude. I mean, shit, you live in the city of grey skies and rain. At least we have a dry climate. I don't know which way to look. There's people coming and going, and I'll just point straight ahead again. Trump called the virus. Oh shit, now my friend's calling me from Hawaii. Aloha, Angela. You should be watching me on YouTube, you mole. Messenger rings for ages too. Shit, I can't even see how to disconnect her. Hang on. Sorry, Ange, I'll call you back in a little while, Dales. What did Morgan say? Oh, shit. Bondi Rescue is all faked. Oh, don't ruin the dream, Aussie Outlaw, Jesus. Yep, see, Morgan saw an Asian rescue. Yeah, you've wrecked it for Morgan too. Jesus, Aussie, come on. I think it's great that parole let your ankle band go this far from home. Richard, that's much better material. Good work. Hello, me calling you. Yeah, you are, Ange. I'm live on YouTube, so just hang on a sec. I'll send her a voice track. Oh, actually, I got rid of her. Oops. Tori's too popular for us. Oh, with my phone ringing. I know, this is the thing. Everyone's starting to call a lot more because we're all stuck at home. I mean, we're not all stuck at home. I'm on the beach. Take a good hard look at the motherfucking beach. And on that note, I am going to head home because although I've got water for my parched throat, this sty in my eye is giving me the shits. I don't have sunnies on, and I've got blue eyes that never like being outside without sunglasses on, but especially not when there's a sty in my eye. So I'm going to say g'day and goodbye, Groovers. Thanks for joining me, and don't forget my next episode of Smooth Criminal Podcast is up in the morning on all reputable podcasting platforms. I'll also be uploading another informative video about how to make the food that you have got in your home last longer. And no, it's not cooking 1 grain of rice a day and that's all you eat. But I shouldn't joke, it could end up being like that, right? But for the moment, nope. Just some handy tips, especially for people who went out and bought 30 sticks of butter. Got some news for you fuckers. No one seems to be chatting now, which is fine. Oh, hang on. Wait. I thought that was stuck. At 20 degrees, they all strip off in Tassie and have their tongues hanging out of their heads. Yeah, you're painting a great picture of us, mate. I mean, I have got bare legs and bare arms, so the only thing missing is my tongue hanging out of my head, I guess. Jenny to Justice thought it was you ringing. You were ringing at the same time. Holy shit. Wash your hands. Yeah, wash your hands, everybody. And wash your mouth out, Aussie. And styes are like hemorrhoids. That's not your parting note, I hope. You wash your mouth out too. And on that note, motherfuckers, take care, stay safe, spread empathy, empathy 2020. I'm going to make my little hashtag go viral. At least 11 other people are going to use it in the course of this viral pandemic. So it's goodbye from there. It's goodbye from there. And it's goodbye from down there. Oh, and look, a plane bringing more infected fuckers home. Take care, everyone. Talk soon.